Hello good people, I'm here with the crew and we are on our way to our first Computex meeting with ASUS because after a decade they're launching a new case. We're very excited to check it out, hope you are too, and a huge shout out to our sponsors Cooler Master, Fantex and Thermaltake for making this trip possible. We finally made it to ASUS. Okay, so this thing behind me looks like an art installation of a frame with all types of motherboards inside. Looks freaking cool. OMG, I see it right there, the ASUS TUF enclosure. Wow, look at it. It's so beautiful. Beautiful texture, airflow. But is it any good? Of course it is. Let's check it out.
And as you can see, that's Freddy over there. Not Fred.
Frederica.
Frederica. I thought we renamed. Okay, perfect.
So after 10 years of hiatus, the TUF Gaming chassis, the GT501 is here. The estimated price point is $149 and hopefully lower at launch. But GT501, there's been a lot of 500 series cases, am I right? So this case is very much military themed. It has this armored plating look that fits the TUF branding, so that's not an issue at all. The front panel is steel and has this cool texture that spans both the top and the front. And I've been asking for more textures, and so this is really good to see. Hopefully we can even get like accent and color textures for the TUF branding, but that of course is far in the future. The top dust filter also has this military pattern that could be used for different color accents. And the TUF logo is centered at the front. I do like the symmetrical look, but the angular design has some resemblance to Cooler Master cases. But from the looks of it, the ventilation is spaced out well from the fans and allows lighting to seep right through. The top of the case comes with fabric handles. I personally love this addition, so you can carry the case around during assembly, and for just transportation of the case, that just becomes much easier. You can also tighten them so they're totally flat to the case and are pretty low profile. Now these fabric handles can handle the weight of a fully assembled system. We've seen examples, so that's not an issue. They're also removable, and there's a little Easter egg on the mounting joint with a little bit of Morse code that spells TUF. My only point of feedback would be that this whole gray and dark color scheme lends itself well for additional color accents. So the handles, for example, in some orange to go with the TUF branding would actually be pretty sweet. But of course, going with the darker theme is a safer choice. The I/O is basic, but for a premium case like it, I want to see at least 4 USB ports, and the Type-C port is not present. But let me know how you feel about that, because it's kind of an expectation for a 2018 release, but I personally never actually used a Type-C port on any of my cases, so yeah. The side TG panel is tinted, it's pretty standard, but to continue with this military theme, we have these dog tags that you can use to open the screws to unlock the panel. And I do appreciate the little details that surround the whole TUF branding, and hopefully we'll see more in the final release. Coming inside, we have a large interior, so there's a ton of space at the front. eATX motherboards are supported that will cover the first column of rubber grommets, but we have those 3 SSD caddies on the side with appropriate cutouts, so you can use those to route the motherboard cables for larger motherboards. Although I do wish that the SSD mounts were covered, so this space could look a bit cleaner because all these openings are a bit more exposed, and they are thinking of paneling for this section, so hopefully it will kind of match the whole interior design with the final release. The power supply shroud is not final since it's all plastic and has no mount for the vertical GPU yet, but it will be removable and properly accommodate a 360 rad with enough clearance at the front. The only thing though is the hard drive cage at the bottom. It sticks out a little bit and might introduce some mounting challenges. And finally, the cooling capacity is standard. You can do a 360 rad at the front and the top. The top bracket is unfortunately non-removable, but the case is pretty high for push-pull and will arrive with 3 140mm fans. And finally, the cable area behind the motherboard is fully open with a few Velcro straps and cable tie points around the perimeter. I do think that cable channels would be nice here since working on a flat plane can be challenging, but at least the spacing is pretty wide between the side panel. And for storage, we get 2 caddies in the drive cage and 2 more side caddies for SSDs and 3.5-inch drives. So that's a pretty common layout. And it's actually pretty exciting to have a new case brand entering the market that are trying to do something a little bit different, particularly with that TUF branding. So military theme paneling, different little Easter eggs and little cool accessories for the whole lineup. And I'm really excited to see how that entire ecosystem of TUF products can kind of merge together and complement each other down the line. And so the GT501 is not totally unique, but obviously they're still taking feedback. The case is set to launch in August, so there's a bit of time. So let us know what you think about the enclosure and their whole direction for the interior, that whole expansion with the side SSD caddies, and how would you like to see it changed, and particularly for the power supply shroud, because that is not yet final. But yeah, let me know what you think of this new TUF case. I'm Dmitry, thanks so much for watching our Computex video. Check out this other relevant stuff here, and we'll see you in the next one.